Hey guys, we've got 7 tips, upgrades, before your first HPDE driving day. Now HPDE, High Performance Driving Experience, awesome way to get on the track. You're going to be out there with an instructor. They're going to teach you the ropes, show you how to drive the lines. And here are 7 items that you can do to your car that are either some basic maintenance items or upgrades that are going to make your life so much better when you go and do that first HPDE day. Starting off at number 7, we have fire extinguisher and mount. The last thing you want is for a little fire to turn into a big fire, either on your car or someone else's car. So get a fire extinguisher, get a mount. I've got the H3R Performance Universal Mount, and I've also got the H3R Performance 250B fire extinguisher. Haven't had to use them, hopefully never have to use them, but guess what? I have it just in case. Tow hooks. Your car breaks down, you crash, something happens, they need to get you off the track quickly. What are they going to do? They're going to look for your tow hook. If they don't see your tow hook, they are going to grab anything. That includes your bumper. So instead of making a minor inconvenience turn into a big costly inconvenience, get some tow hooks. I use the stock ones on the S2000. You probably have some stock ones too. Put them on. I painted mine red, so a little easier to see, but you don't have to. Just put them on. Typically a free mod. You can upgrade, get some of these fancier tow hooks. That's fine too. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. I'm all about just function, and it doesn't necessarily have to look good, so put the stock tow hooks on and call it a day. Number 5, brake lines that are stainless steel. My first instructor, after the first day, he said, Brandon, get stainless steel lines. The last thing you want is for a little cut or a little burst to turn into something where your fluid's all over, you lose all your braking pedal feel, you are not going to be able to stop that car. Get stainless steel brake lines. I have Goodrich stainless steel lines that were about $110, $120 to do. As a DIY person, I was able to take them off and exchange those. Now when you do that, you're going to find that now you have air in the lines, and that brings us to number 4 on the list. Brake fluid. Type 200, which is ATE brake fluid. They have it in amber. They used to have a blue version. I'm really bummed they got rid of that because you could easily see how they changed. But get fluid that's not going to boil. You are going to put your brakes through something that they were not intended to go through, which is a track day. And the least that you could do is to flush your lines with new race-oriented brake fluid and make sure there are no bubbles within those lines. Number 3 on the list, alignment. If you are fighting today to keep that car straight down the road with your hands, think about how that's going to be as you're trying to be precisely driving around a racetrack and going faster, and you have a lot of other things to deal with. The last thing you want is to have to fight for the steering of your vehicle. So if you don't have an alignment, get alignment done. Do you need a racing alignment? No. Is it nice? Yeah, it's going to feel really good, but I think maybe a perspective of standard alignment first to then a racing spec alignment will also give you an idea of how drastic that changes for you and your car. Number 2 on the list. Typically my number 1, brake pads. Don't use your stock brake pads. Get racing brake pads. I personally use Carbotech pads. I use XP10s, which are a little more aggressive in the front, and XP8s in the rear. They also have some other versions, AX6 that you can use. Just get something that's not your stock pad. I did that once. I put brand new stock pads on the rear of the S2000, had racing pads in the front. What happened at the end of the day? I hear from the rear. What was that sound? It was my brake pad bracket, metal bracket, grinding against the rear rotor of the S2000, which I had to drive from Utah Motor Campus all the way back to Salt Lake with a little kind of constant as you're driving down the road. Not very fun, and more costly because it ruined my rotor, right? So get some brake pads so when you drive out there for the day, you can use it and you can come home. Important thing to note though, please bed your brake pads in. Don't just toss them on right as you get to the truck and say, I'm good to go, because the friction layer is going to be different from the different compounds. And so you're not going to get that initial bite that you would expect, and it's going to take a little bit on the track to remove the old layer and have that bed more closely with between the pad and the rotor. So get brake pads, but install them properly and bed those pads into your rotors. So brake pads, number 2. Number 1 on the list, pretty basic, pretty much what most people start off on, other than like rotating their tires, is oil change. If you don't know how to change your oil, start learning how to change your oil. If you think it's too expensive, it's super cheap. Especially nowadays, I get my oil at Costco. It's about $12 for a 5-quart thing of synthetic oil, which is, it's just crazy how cheap things are now. And an oil filter. The one kind of modification that I have to that is get a Fumoto valve, and the Fumoto valve is going to be a spring closed valve that you can open up. You don't have to deal with, like, is it a 14 millimeters, a 17 millimeters, a 19 millimeters, like what do I need to do? You just get underneath there, you flip the valve open, the oil drains out, and you put the new oil in once you take off that filter as well. So 7 items that maybe some of you were familiar with already. Maybe some of these are, in some ways common sense, but really they're very safety oriented. So fire extinguisher tow hooks, and oil change for kind of safety and reliability. You want to be able to stop. So brake pads, brake fluid, brake lines, and you want to be able to drive the car appropriately, so alignment. So that's kind of how I came down my list. Would love to hear your comments below as to what I missed on the list, or any challenges to what I mentioned there. I hope this video has helped you with planning for your high performance driving experience with whatever vendor or track you get to go do. It's pretty exciting to get out on the track for the first time. If you like the content that you saw today, please subscribe, add some comments below around any questions you have. If you're unsure how to do some of this, there's a lot of YouTube content out there. Go just give it a shot. That's really how I learned. It started with oil changes too. It started to, okay, how do I change my pads? So how do I change my brake lines? So how do I do the fluid? And you'll just slowly learn over time how to mechanically take care of your car. So if you have not done so already and you like the content that you're seeing, please hit the subscribe button below. Give this a like and have a wonderful day.